So I thought I would start my Devar Torah tonight with the pop quiz. But what are the 10 Commandments? Let's count them. Let's raise our hands just to make sure we don't miss any. Who's got one?
Well, the first one isn't really a commandment.
Oh, okay. So Mary's jumping a good analysis piece ahead. What does it say, Mary? What's the first one?
I am the Lord your God.
I am the Lord your God. Good. What else?
You shall
Shall have no other gods before me.
No other gods. Good. We're getting them in order so far. Very good.
Don't make an idol.
No idols. Very good.
No murder.
No murder. Good.
No swearing false.
Honor your mother and
Adultery,
father.
swearing falsely, honor your mother and father. That's, how many is that? That's 7 so far.
Don't covet your neighbors.
No coveting.
Remember Shabbat and keep it holy.
Remember Shabbat.
Don't steal.
And don't.
Stealing.
Listen to me.
Good. Very good. Very good. We got all 10. Mary, share with us though what you said about the first one.
It's a statement.
Okay, good. Let's hold
An
that.
utterance, as it were.
Okay, so very good. So usually when we get to the 10 Commandments, we get one way to divide them up is to think about the commandments that are bein Adam lemakom, between humanity and God. And the other half of them roughly are bein Adam le'Adam, between humanity and each other. But that first one really can bother us. It bothers me sometimes. Because the first one says, Anochi Adonai Elohecha asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeit avadim. I am Adonai your God, who took you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. And I think to myself, how is this a commandment? And it's a little bit strange because in Hebrew, you might know, they're actually called the 10 sayings, the 10 dibrot, aseret hadibrot, the 10 speakings, basically. So that helps a little bit. But of course, they're still understood as commandments. Each one of those devarim, each one of those dibrot are understood as a commandment. And we traditionally have been taught that this is not just the giving of the 10 commandments in this moment, but the giving really of all the Torah, kol Torah kula, all the Torah, all of it, every piece of it. So, there's also, mind you, a little bit of irony in the fact that the first time we get the Torah is in a Torah portion named after Yitro, Jethro, who's the priest of Midian, not the priest of an Israelite at all. I think there's actually something beautiful about that, but we'll save that for another Devar Torah. I do want to focus on this first commandment, though. So how is it understood as a commandment? That's the first way we can think about to ask about. What does it mean that I am the Lord your God is actually a commandment? Well, many traditional interpreters would say the commandment is to believe that God is our God that brought us out of Egypt. And to recognize. And to remember. Good. And that might work for us. It's been bothering me lately, though, because if the Torah wanted us to believe and remember, it has words for that. And it's not like the Torah doesn't tell us in certain places and other places how to feel about God. We prayed tonight twice, and you shall love your God. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, you shall love your God. So the Torah has no problem telling us how to feel. But in this case, Torah doesn't do that. So that got me thinking. And it got me reading. And it got me studying. And one way to understand this is sort of that it's not really a commandment, even though most traditional commentators would say the commandment is to believe. We got that part. I think most of us could have guessed that part. But there's a small number of commentators that say, actually, it's not really about believing, but it's about God justifying God's authority in that moment. That unless we recognize, or unless we hear from God's self that God is God who brought us out of Egypt, that there wouldn't be the weight, the kavod, the kaved, the heaviness behind the rest of the commandments. That might work for us. I have to say, though, I'm still not quite satisfied with it. And then I got to some of the peculiarities of the language. And I found something that really worked for me. And I'm going to offer it to you, and I hope it'll work for you too. Because we read these 10 commandments, and they say, Anochi Adonai Elohecha. Not Elohechem, to all of you, but Elohecha, to you, Chaz. Or Elohaich, to you, Rachel. To every one of us. It's singular, the language, throughout the whole thing. So one interpreter taught, and I read this in the Eitz Chaim commentary, that one way to think of this then is that, think of it as God self being like a mirror. The mirror doesn't change. The mirror always does the property that it was designed to do. It always is God. But when I look into it, I'm not going to see the same thing as when you're going to look into it. And I have to have the courage to look into that mirror and find that piece of godliness in me that can then connect back and believe, really believe, that I was taken out of the house of Egypt. And really believe that all of these things that are what we think are the essence of Torah, the doing justly and loving mercy that we read so beautifully earlier tonight, that each one of those pieces is the part that I have to find then when I look into that godliness. So, beyond then just the Bein Adam leMakom, the sense of between humanity and God, and beyond the Bein Adam leAdam, the between humanity and each other, maybe the 10 Commandments are teaching us this third piece of Bein Adam leAtzmo, between a single person and him or herself, is one place where you're going to find God if you look carefully enough. May we all have the strength and the courage and the patience to do such looking. And may we find within ourselves that piece of God that we can then feel empowered to share with one another. Shabbat Shalom.